Protein, everything the body needs.
You eat when you want, what you want, and how you want.
Protein pizza burrito time. I know that today is going to be a really fun episode. We got Michael Trinchitella. Thanks a lot for joining me today, man.
Sure, man. I'm glad to be here.
You pretty much run the show when it comes to the ketogenic Facebook group world.
Yeah.
I think you own like more than half of them. But the biggest one, I think, is the ketogenic intermittent fasting group on Facebook.
Yeah.
If
Yep.
you search that, you'll find it. It's over, is it 150,000 now? Is it over that?
It's almost there. It's close. You know, there's always
Yeah.
thousands of pending members that kind of like trickle them in here and there. But yeah, it's close. You know, by the end of the year, you'll see more. Then by January, it ticks up again. But yeah, it's getting there.
Right.
It's getting there.
That's the new thing now. Instead of like the gym spiking, it's the nutrition group spiking in
Well,
January.
that's what it is. There'll be a period of time where there's like 5, 6, 7,000 new members a month, and then it drops down. And I watch that across tons of Facebook groups, and they all follow the same cycle.
Very cool. Well, I'm so grateful that I found your group pretty early in my keto journey. And I got to let you know, man, you totally changed my perspective about the information that you share in your groups. And specifically, when it comes to prioritizing protein as the front runner in diet. Mm-hmm. And so a big thank you to you in that regard. Yeah, man. I mean, that was a big reason why, you know, I just had to come see you for Trinch Retreat. We'll talk about that in a bit. But protein, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
You make you make products, supplement products. Yep. KetoGenics is the brand, right?
Yep. KetoGenics
when did that
with
start?
the S at the end. Rewind back to when I first started keto, like around 94, 95. And I was always a big supplement freak even back then. Yeah, back in the mid to late 90s, whey protein wasn't all that popular. You know, back then we would have egg whey protein or just weight gainers. And then eventually designer whey came out, which really brought it, you know, to the market in such a way that everyone really said, this is pretty cool stuff. So that was really the beginning with designer whey. But I used to buy it in bulk before that. We used to have an 11-pound paint bucket. It was like an 11-pound paint bucket of whey protein. It was probably the lowest quality you can find. Like whey protein concentrate, WPC is pretty crappy. It's an 80% whey. So there's a lot of lactose and carbs and fat. So that's where the people that talk about you're going to get too much gas or you'll feel crappy, that's cheap WPC, whey protein concentrate. And then throughout the years, technology got better. There's a few different types of processes, but the most popular types of protein filtration processes out there are really going to be like cold filtered ultra micro filtration system, which is what we do. There's hydrolyzed whey, which is similar, but it's a little more acidic and can be some heat in the process, which it kind of like breaks down the whole process. It's like pre-digested, and the whole big selling point in the hydro whey was that, it's pre-digested, it absorbs faster. But then some of the research was like, well, regular whey isolate is already pretty fast, and there wasn't really any benefit from it. I had noticed that I was using hydro whey or a combination for years, but I always noticed a weird aftertaste. And it is that bitterness, and I didn't like that. The cold filtered or the micro filtered ultra, that has nothing like that. It's they use cold filter technology to these micro filters, and it's a really good process. No heat. You know, it keeps all the micro fractions, all the health immune properties are intact, where these acid or heat processes really ruin that. If you're looking for a protein powder now, there's really only two types of filtration processes, and that's either the cold filtered, micro filtered, ultra filtered. That's all one and the same. That's what we use. And that literally removes like all the lactose and minimal carbs left and fat. In fact, that we have so many lactose intolerant customers that use it that have no problem. And they always freak out, no,
Right.
I can't use it. So I send them a free sample and they email me, oh my God, this is great. So I can't say it's truly lactose free. Maybe it's 99.99. It's such a little amount. But I settle on that just because pound for pound, most bang for your buck, I like that process. If you really believe the Hydro Whey is that much faster absorbed, then go for it. But the data shows it really isn't. And it does have that weird tinge of an aftertaste. I don't like that. You know, I don't want to drink the protein and then there's like a bitter aftertaste. And that's going to happen with Hydro Whey for sure. The Hydro Whey and the ion exchange, it kind of like, for lack of a better word, burns up all the good stuff. That's how I say it. So that's why we settled on that. You know, we didn't have access to the greatest stuff in the 90s. So again, I started out with egg protein, whey protein, and then in the late 90s or mid 90s when I was in college, I got tired of paying $40 for whey protein at GNC. And I said, there has to be a better way. So I went out, got my own business license, and I started buying and selling supplements wholesale. So I was buying wholesale for the protein for like $14, selling it to my friends for 25. So they saved 15. I'd make a few bucks. We were all happy. So that was really the first instance of me selling any sort of protein or any supplements. And then maybe 4 years ago, after spreading tons of information about all types of supplements and powders on all over Facebook, I remember her name. She said, why don't you start selling your stuff? I mean, yeah, I did that, and that's not what I do. I'm in real estate. I can't get involved. No. Your own brand. I'm like, what do you mean? Like my own company name? Not like buying wholesale? She's like, yeah. Oh. So I figured, what the heck? I'll look into that. I mean, it was a process. It was hard. And lo and behold, I came up with KetoGenics. I looked at all different names I wanted to grab. Some were either unavailable or some were being used in the most oddest form of industry that had nothing to do with keto, so I couldn't use it. Then I stumbled across KetoGenics.
The taste, the value, the consistency, KetoGenics is the way to go.
Protein really should be the basis of every diet once you got your calories in check. But everyone says, what's the best diet? And they always say the one that you can stick to. And I don't agree with that. It's the one that you can stick to that has adequate protein. Do I recommend you eat nothing but protein potato chips and protein powder for the rest of your life? To me, it's too boring. I love protein powder and mixing my sludge. I feel like I'm having cake every day. But I also like real food, you know, but
right.
You know, is there really a requirement? I mean, look, if you can manage your diet by eating nothing but a supplement, I'm not going to be upset with you. You know, people get angry. Oh, Whole Foods. All right, fine. I mean, but it's like you're demonized if you don't. Well, if you're finding it that works for you, then great. You know, Whole Foods,
Right.
for the most part, seem to at least satiate you a little bit better. Pound for pound, if you had a steak, I don't even want to use steak because there's always going to be fat involved. But let's just say a pound of lean chicken versus the same amount of protein in powder. The lean chicken will make you feel a little bit better and satiated. The protein powder goes in so quick that you still might be hungry.
Exactly.
But that's not for everybody. I don't want to just say that as a blanket statement. It's not fair. It's really not fair. You know, it's just for some people, you know, protein's great for everything, your metabolism, your BMR, keeping you full. I mean, in my opinion, for the most part, there's really no negative, you know, no one's ever gotten fat from eating too much protein. No one ever says, oh God, that protein is my weakness. No, it's not. That's cookies, that's cake, that's donuts. You know, no one ever goes, man, if I got to stop binging on protein, I'm getting so fat. No, you don't. No, you're not. No one's getting fat on protein. Could it happen? In theory, but it's just not happening. And it makes the diet so much more enjoyable.
Let's talk about flavors because they're very specific. Like, it's not just peanut butter. It's peanut butter cookie. It's chocolate cereal milk.
Yep.
And I mean, I love it. And like, even just talking to you right now, the whole mindset of, you know, knowing that every diet is individualized, everyone has their, you know, favorite foods. It's so great to have someone making these products with that understanding, because I'm sure you got to consider you got to consider vegans, you got to consider carnivores or whatever when you're making these supplements of what their mindset is. So like, I know that you were recently looking into more vegan protein powders. So like what kind of things do you consider for that? And
Uh-huh.
just to tag on to the question, what do you consider when thinking of a new flavor?
So macros always first, and good macros usually ends up, for the most part, being good quality. So pea protein isolate is really the winner when it comes to that. It's like the whey protein of the plant world. Okay, it is a complete protein. Then we're throwing in some, which I almost didn't do because I didn't want to trigger the keto people. But when you look at the macros, they're perfect. So brown rice protein. Okay. While people think, oh, rice is not keto. And that's what I think every time I come out of a product. I'm like, oh my God. So when I talk to my manufacturer, he goes, what the hell's wrong with you keto people? I go, I know, trust me. That word rice freaks them out. But it's cleaner than the pea. It's so, the macros are perfect. So it's so filtered down that it's hardly any carbs. Okay, fine. And then I wanted to throw in one other little thing, and then pumpkin. And I told him, I was like, listen, we got to go completely natural, completely. All either stevia, monk fruit, and then natural flavoring. It's going to be good. It's going to be two flavors. It's going to be peanut butter cup and like a cinnamon roll, which with vegan, you can have fun. The taste is going to be pretty good. You got to know the texture. Texture is different. It's like a velvety texture. I don't mind. I like it. I never drink vegan alone. I always mix it with whey or something else, like a pudding. But again, I would only take a vegan, like I would only consume pea protein isolate if I had to, meaning if you have an allergy for dairy or whey, then go with the pea protein. But there's no real advantage over whey for pea protein. It's just a good alternative if you have a problem with dairy. When I come up with a flavor, to answer your question before I got on a rampage, I like to trigger people. I like to market a product.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's not so much what's in the container, it's what's on the outside that made you buy it.
Oh yeah.
Everyone eventually settles for what's inside. When I email my flavor chemist what I want something to taste like, it's literally 3 paragraphs long. It's like an essay. My vanilla flavored protein powder originally had pictures of a milkshake. It just said sweet vanilla milkshake. It sold okay. I said, change the label, put unicorns on there, all this other shit, and it's selling 5 times as much just because of the picture. Okay, and the
Right.
genius thing about chemistry is there's no vanilla in it. It's what I tell you it is, and that's what you think it is. So the chocolate syrup, the peanut butter cookie, the maple syrup French toast, that picture alone makes people go crazy. So I want it dripping. I want your mouth to water. So we're going to do something similar with the vegan ones, the label. So, and we're working on 2 other labels right now for 2 other fall flavors. So it's all about the label. If you can get them to get triggered into buying it because you had no choice. And that's what I do.
Let's talk about, real food. You been keto for like over 25 years or whatever. You're Italian.
Mm-hmm.
That must have been a crazy time when first, trying it out. Do you guys do like big family get-togethers, typical Italian way?
Oh yeah.
How did you adjust? How'd that go?
Well, in the beginning it was weird, especially because my off the boat grandmother, who has lived here for a million years and still can't talk English, so she was perplexed. Like, well, why aren't you eating any pasta? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, for me, look, it's a traditional Italian type food, the pasta, but it's kind of boring. It's very vanilla. It's sauce and pasta. That's it. So I used to dress up. I used to always put a glop of ricotta in there and screw. We always did that. It didn't take long for my family to realize whatever, that's this thing. And it got to the point where even my wife, I've always cooked my own food when I was living with my parents when I was on keto. And even my wife, it's very rare. I just do my own thing. I prep my own food. I eat with them, but I use my own food. She don't care. She would like to cook, but she knows it's just not going to happen. She's like, I'm not even going to waste my time because I know I'm going to do it wrong. And she's probably right. Cold cuts, are great. Every day I eat cold cuts, it's so fresh. It's like candy. So people laugh like, oh, I love it. It reminds me of my childhood too. Every Friday night we would have peppers and eggs and a big plate of cold cuts. My cold cuts brings me back to when I was a kid. My grandfather came from the store, he had provolone, turkey, ham and cheese, and salami. I just love that. As an
Yeah.
Italian, I mean, you know, during the holidays, it's, oh my God, the cheese, the meats, it's like,
It's amazing.
it's like candy, like candy to me. You know, I'd much rather pig out on that than a bowl of pasta.
Grabbing cold cuts by the handful. Ask for thin sliced fresh prosciutto.
There's other things that I trust you with, and that is diet hacks.
Yeah.
You got a bunch, and I've totally ruined all of them with the food choices that I include. What are some other tricks up your sleeve?
Other tricks. Probably the main trick is the fasting. Honestly, I mean, you know, we didn't really do fasting. We didn't at all in the 90s. In fact, if I pigged out one night, I would never wake up the next day and skip a meal. That was like forbidden. Oh, you know, like who does that? Like maybe I would have a protein-based meal for breakfast, but like skipping a meal, who would ever do that? Like I would just do like an hour or two of cardio. That's what we used to do. So with fasting, it changed the game for me. I mean, my whole protocol has changed. You know, you don't eat for half a day. It's like doing cardio for half a day. You know, I mean, anecdotally, in my experiences, cardio tends to work phenomenal, at least for me. Even if it's only burning that 300 calories, something else is going on the rest of the day. It's not just that 300 calories in a bubble. I'm not smart enough to know, but I've compared it time and time again. Cardio drastically increases the rate of how much fat I lose, even if it's only another 300 calories a day. You know, a half hour, 45 minutes, you're not burning 1,000 calories. You're not 400 maybe. And I'm just walking on the treadmill, but it's a lot of behavioral too. Like people say fasted cardio does not make you lose fat. It's true. It's the same as fed. But I find that in the real world, you're always going to lose fat faster if you do fasted cardio. Not because it's better, it's because of the behavior you're going to do after the cardio. If you're that type of person that thinks fasted cardio is magic, the chances are you're not going to eat right after you do the cardio, right? Who would do that? So most likely you're going to fast for another couple hours. So by your behavior, yes, fasted cardio is better in the real world, but in a clinical setting, it's shown not to be. But you're going to lose more fat if you do fasted cardio 90% of the time. Everybody, because like I said, if you're the type of person that thinks fasted cardio is great, you just did cardio, you're not going to eat because you think you're going to just sabotage everything you did, even though you're not. So you're not going to eat for a while.
Right.
So there's another couple hundred calories. So yes, in real world, you will end up losing more fat, just like certain people will lose more fat on keto, not because keto itself is better, but keto maybe helped you eat less. And that's the key.
I haven't had a carb since 2004. Check these out. See these? See these boys? This is what I live with.
One thing that is my favorite, and I want to talk about it just because I know how much you like it. The buffalo chicken dip. It is unreal.
The buffalo chicken dip is like, it's amazing. It makes everything taste good. The buffalo, it's like, I just eat it as a meal sometimes. It's so good. And for the people who are watching, right, it's not a dip like you think. It's like a liquid. It's like tuna fish. The way we make it, it's like a tuna meal. It's not liquidy, cheesy mess. It's like a big slab of tuna. It's all chicken. So it's like a creamy. Yeah. It's like a serving probably has like 50 grams of protein, not a ton of fat. And you can make it very low fat. I've even used yogurt, phage yogurt. I couldn't believe what I did with that. Hot sauce makes everything taste better. You know, it's like bacon. It makes everything better. So I've done it with tuna fish. I've done it with everything you can think of. I add it to my meals. I add it to my people go, what are you dipping it? And I go, everything. I put it in everything. I took salami today and I put a bunch in my salami and I ate it like a taco. So yeah, all these food hacks, you got to learn how to do these things and make it enjoyable, you know, and then you realize that you're really not on a diet. You love it. And you can eat that buffalo chicken dip no matter what diet you're on. It's just mostly protein. It just tastes so good. It's like the one I made yesterday, I had a bunch of Purdue chicken cuts, like strips, and it was like a Mexican blend, and oh my God, it tastes like a burrito. It tastes like the inside of a burrito when I was.
What the hell, bro? Hello, neighbor. Did you just throw a burrito out your window?
I'm hoping that we can have a Trinch or Treat 2021. If you could pick anywhere food-wise, at a cultural level, where would you pick Trinch or Treat to be like the optimal Trinch or Treat festival?
Well, you know, it's funny, even though I live here, that's not why I'm saying it, but it would always be New York. It would probably be in New York City because half of the Instagram food porn accounts are New York City locations. Everything's in New York City. All these Instagram food porn accounts, they're mostly based in New York. They're just so popular. I mean, we walked by this grand opening of some weird ice cream shop. There was about 150 people online. I'm like, what are they doing here? Some ice cream shop. I never seen anything like it. You know, the donut plant, these donuts are huge and they taste like heaven. Like, it blows me away. I mean, the line was like a mile long to get a freaking donut, you know? And just, I mean, you're talking the most amazing things you've ever seen. So it would definitely be like at a setting like that. Then again, I also like the simple, quaint setting of a buffet, like at a casino, like that Mohegan Sun. You know, I went there for one reason and one reason only, and they didn't have what I wanted, but I supplemented with something else. So they have the Toll House cookie cake. It's massive. It's a cookie in a hot tin. It's about the size of a manhole cover. It's hot and it's thick, and you spoon it out, and it's like chewing on heaven. They didn't have it, and I was devastated. I'm like, son of a bitch. I would probably make it simple and just have it at a phenomenal buffet, like a casino buffet, because you take everything that you're going to get in New York City and more or less throw it right there. And you're in one sitting, one place. You're not walking around. You're relaxed. I mean, if you remember, we were there for 2.5 hours. Who the hell eats for 2.5 hours? We did. I said, let's pace ourselves. Let's not pig out. Let's enjoy. And then you guys kept getting up for like 9th and 10th plates. So in New York City, it's not like that. It's moving quick, and you don't get to really enjoy what you're eating. But in a real setting, I would, without a doubt, do the buffet. Take my time, chill, buffet, because you can't go wrong. The regular food might not be up to par, but the desserts are phenomenal. You can't go wrong with a dessert. Come on.
Well, as soon as it opens up, I'm sure Mark, Ketone Athlete, and I will be there for sure.
You know, that's a challenge. So one of these days, once buffets are a thing again, I'll drive a couple hours. I don't care. I mean, I'm down. It's too much fun not to do it, you know?
Yeah, it was a great time.
Yeah.
Okay, man. Thanks for your time tonight. Learned a lot regarding supplements, protein powders, buffalo chicken dip, and other diet hacks.
I'll definitely keep you updated when I get these flavors. You're, like I said, you're going to get triggered. So that's all I'm going to say. I'll get
right.
Somehow I'll get these up to you. I'll get these up to you regardless of the border. I'll get it up to you somehow.
Cool. Sounds good. You take it easy, all right?
All right. Good talk to you.
Okay.
See you soon. All right. Take care.
I'm in love with Aliolio. I'm in love with Aliolio. I got it from my nonno.